What's up, everybody? Thanks as always for supporting the show. It would mean a lot to me if you would take a second to scroll down and hit that subscribe button to the Hoops Tonight YouTube channel, and then follow me on social media on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter so you guys don't miss any of our content over the course of this season. All right, let's talk some basketball. All right, moving on to the Warriors. So they dropped another game to the Clippers last night. They're now 10-14. According to DraftKings, the Warriors are now plus 125 to make the playoffs and minus 155 to miss it. So again, I'd have to bet $155 on the Warriors to miss the playoffs to make 100. That's a substantial, a signal that Vegas thinks that there's a much better chance than not that Golden State misses the playoffs. And now, here's the thing. I've been mostly a Warriors positive force this year, right? And I feel strongly that, given the information at the time, that was the right approach at the time. But the Draymond suspension, like him taking himself out indefinitely, officially puts them in a really challenging predicament. And I am, for the first time this season, seriously worried about the Warriors. To give you an idea, as of today, they are 3 games out of the 10 spot. So they are 3 games out of the play-in at this point. And it's not just 3 games in a vacuum. The teams ahead of you are Phoenix, New Orleans, Houston, the Clippers, and the Lakers. I don't think the Suns, Clippers, or Lakers are going to drop. They have too much talent. They have just significantly more talent in the regular season right now than the Warriors, right? Houston and New Orleans, I see as like those are the teams you're targeting as like, oh, maybe we'll be able to jump them before the end of the season. But again, it's not from today full strength Warriors versus full strength Pelicans and Rockets. Like, you're going to be without Draymond for an undisclosed amount of time. And I would argue that, Draymond's probably your second or third best player. And if he's not available, then Houston and New Orleans are better regular season teams than you. It's going to be a challenge. And like, he just put him in a grind, in a bind, because like now you have to finish 3 games better than one of those teams. And you're going to be without Draymond for a while. A lot has to go right. You're going to need bona fide MVP play from Steph Curry. Klay Thompson had a big night the other night. You're going to need him to be incredible. You're going to need Podziemski to pop. And I saw that Kerr moved Podziemski and Kuminga into the starting lineup. I thought that was interesting. You're going to need a lot of huge contributions from everybody. It's going to look a lot like, again, like we've seen this before. This has happened before because the Warriors are in a position where they do have the ability to make a trade, right? They have a desirable asset in Jonathan Kuminga. They've got a salary filler in the form of Chris Paul. And they have draft compensation that they can offer. So they are in a position where they can go get somebody. So let's look at the Warriors or the Lakers last year as an example. All year last year, the Lakers were outside of the play-in, right? Similar kind of predicament. And they also had assets. They had 2 first-round draft picks that they could use. They ended up only using 1, but they had 2 first-round draft picks they could use. And they had this Russell Westbrook expiring contract, which I know everyone said last year no one wanted. But of course people wanted it. An expiring contract is real value. That's why they were able to make a trade, right? So the Lakers had this asset thing that they were sitting on that they could do something with. And the Warriors have this asset thing that they can do something with. You remember what happened with the Lakers last year? LeBron James went down with injury. Anthony Davis played like a freaking MVP for a while and floated the ship. Then Anthony Davis went down, and it was like LeBron, Dennis Schroeder, and Russell Westbrook, who just played like fucking crazy and just hung around 500, right? They just lingered around 500, just staying alive long enough so that when the trade hit, they were then able to go on a run with the actual, balanced roster that they needed to be a significantly above 500 team. So that's the mold that you're looking at for the Warriors. The question is, do you have even as much firepower as that Lakers team did at that point in the year? And I would say it's close. Certainly if Steph Curry can reach that MVP level, but I think they might have to start looking to make that move sooner than later. That doesn't mean you go make a stupid move. That doesn't mean you go overpay or go for the wrong guy. But you got to start looking now. And what's concerning about that specifically is Mike Dunleavy had this interview the other day where he basically said, like, we'll see how it goes over the next 15 to 20 games, which is concerning on a couple of different levels. Because first of all, it's like, are you insinuating that Draymond's going to be out that long? Because that might be a death sentence. And then 2, like, let's say Draymond is out that long. What if you wait and see and then the season's over? Steph Curry's 35. You cannot afford to, don't do what the Lakers did and waste prime seasons of LeBron James's career with stupidity. Don't do that. Like, it's time right now to start looking for what you can do to kind of revamp this situation. I originally, had Draymond not been suspended, I would have been like, wait for the deadline. Had Draymond not been suspended, you lean into it this season. You're hovering around the play-in in that 7, 8, 9 range, right? Like you're a little bit mediocre. The Warriors have the 6th easiest remaining schedule, I believe, by opponent win percentage. So like there's some opportunity there to regain some ground in the standings. And then you pull the trigger at the deadline. You negotiate more staunchly. You try to make something happen in February. But with Draymond being out, this next month now could literally submarine the season. Because if you fall from 3 games back of the 10 seed to 6 games back of the 10 seed, it's over at that point. You're not outplaying those teams by 6 games in a couple of months. That's not happening. So we are officially in crisis mode with the Warriors, is my point. If Draymond's going to be out for a long period of time, you don't have the horses to rack up regular season wins. So you either got to blow the whole damn thing up, or you've got to pivot pretty quickly here. You got the pieces to do so. I think it's time to start calling Toronto. I think it's time to start calling Utah. I think it's time to start calling Portland. See if you can't get some firepower in the building to help. We're going to talk about here in a minute, but I'd even be keeping an eye on Cleveland there and see if maybe you can poach Donovan Mitchell. That's another guy I'd be keeping an eye on.